I mean, we've got time, so.
We got time. All we got is time. And all we don't have is time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Afternoon FM. This is Matthew Zeitoun here. Today I'm joined by Parker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome me. Thank you.
I'm co-hosted by Jon Cohen.
What's up?
We actually just finished his podcast a little bit earlier. Learned a lot about him, a little bit about his background. So you're gonna be waiting for that episode. We're gonna get into Parker right now.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This kind of just became something where, like, I saw your Instagram and you followed me and I followed you and I saw that you were doing a podcast and I was super eager to get on a platform just to, talk about everything and just eager to network,
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'd love to come on your show, and you were like, I'd love to have you, and that was kind of it. Like, that's kind of all that needed to be exchanged, right? Like,
It's being open, man. I want to be open to, like, you're a creative. You're a creative in New Jersey, bro.
Yeah, man.
Which is like, this is a place, man, where everybody they can talk they can tell their story, they can, like, talk about their project.
Yeah.
They can just come on and shoot the shit about, like, it's not necessarily like a show, where everybody's trying to get each other's tea. I don't know. This is not a visual podcast, so I don't think I could fucking do the practical jokes.
Yeah.
Trying to move
Let the record show that he took a sip of tea. Let the record show. He definitely, yeah.
Yes. For all you guys at home, I took a sip of tea.
Yeah.
No, but it's like it's just like it's that platform, man. And at the end of the day, man, it ends up being like, what I love about it, man, is the recollection of, like, people can. I like the little drum line. Is the people can really just, like, connect, and it's a very giving platform. But we're here to hear your story, and we're here to talk about some cool shit.
Yeah.
This man is it NJCU?
Yeah, NJCU. I'm a fourth year jazz student. I play trumpet. I'm gonna have to do some extra time, but, like, I've noticed that in music school that's like an unwritten rule. Unless you're, like, super on top of everything, that, like, you got to do at least a few, or at least one more semester.
Oh,
so
yeah?
I'm gonna have to do a few more. That's probably because when I got there, I was, like, super reckless. Like, I was into, like, all this, like, partying and shit, and, like, I would have liked to have called myself a musician at that time because I played music, but, like, I didn't have the love for it that I have for it now. So I mean, I grew up in this area for the most part. I moved around a lot as a kid, so I never really got to set roots down until I was in about second grade, and I set roots down in Clifton. I was, like, coming from Massachusetts and, like, moving a lot, so, like, I was, like, super angry at the world.
What, jeez. All right.
Yeah.
Word, fuck it.
I was like, hey, man.
Like, whoa. He's like, yo, I came from Clifton, I'm angry. Oh, no. Fucking,
I don't
what time? All right, let's go cycle back. You're
Yeah.
living in Massachusetts as, like, a little kid. Like, what's your upbringing like?
So, I think before that, there's a very important part.
Let's go, let's baby steps, man.
I have two mothers. So my two mothers, they split up, and there was a lot of stuff involved there, and I ended up going with one of my parents, right, who is my non-birth mother, right? So we were moving around a lot, and I say Massachusetts only because it was a memorable time.
Whereabouts in Massachusetts?
I think it was somewhere near the Berkshires. I believe it was Springfield, Massachusetts. So, really cold, like, fucking cold, dude. Like, super cold. Like, Massachusetts is, like, not terrible, but, like, rigid. This was before music. I was always just, like, a super happy kid, and I got to meet some friends and stuff there, and I moved away from there and then back to there. And then to Clifton. And then from Clifton, like, I've been in Clifton. Aside from going to Jersey City, like, I lived in Jersey City. I had my own place with somebody. And I lived in the dorms and stuff. But I've been in Clifton for a long time. So, when I first got there, I was, like, super angsty. Like,
all right. All right. So we got an angsty kid in Clifton. Where, so you're in high school and stuff. What are you like? How are you getting into music? What is this like?
So when I got into music, it was actually in elementary school. When I was living in Clifton, it was the first school that I moved to, and amongst being a quote unquote bad kid, right? Because I was like doing all this shit. I found music, or music found me. That's like sounds cliche, but it's not, honestly, because I think music found me, and it was in this assembly, and like this dude played the SpongeBob theme song on the trumpet, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, it changed my life, and not really necessarily the SpongeBob theme song, because SpongeBob was the shit when I was a kid, man. So it was
still
like,
the shit.
Still the shit.
Still
yeah,
the
cool,
shit.
man. Cool, yeah. So I'm glad that everyone
still
thinks
the shit.
that.
I was watching SpongeBob last week. None of the jokes fade. Not a fucking joke fade.
Okay, cool, man. So it was less about the fact that it was the SpongeBob theme song, and I can just remember that moment in my life where
you heard the SpongeBob theme song?
I heard the trumpet, I think it was. Like, not to discount the SpongeBob theme song because it's awesome, but like I heard the sound that the trumpet made, and like I remember my world changed immediately. Like, not, no joke. Like, my world quite literally changed. My eyes lit up, and I just started playing and stuff, and like I would always like play in band class, and like then I would go home and play in the basement in the apartment that we were playing, and like it progressed through then, and there's a lot more involved there, but I don't want to give away all my information right now. So.
Well, okay, all right, fair enough, bro. We got time. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, we do have time.
Going mad fast. You're like, nah, bro, it's fucking good.
There's a lot to expand on. I'd like to. I don't want to sound like. It's like
give me like the first baby steps of you actually learning the trumpet.
Okay, so 4th grade, there was the assembly, and then it was actually in 3rd grade that I got the assembly because they wanted to give us time that I had the assembly, right? And then 4th grade is when I started playing, and I started to play. Like, there's this book. The red book, I think it's called Essential Elements, like the band book, right? Yeah, man, hell yeah. So
I had the same one.
Yeah, man, it goes like red, and like I was just working through that, and like I just always became like super into it, right? And I don't think I was more into it then that everyone else was, but I was definitely like super into it, right? So we would play and stuff, and I would have band class like once a week, and we would have like a trumpet sectional, right? Because it wasn't really that. It was just like, try your best to make sounds on this instrument, and then we'll try again next week, right? So, then, playing that through 5th grade, I started to get, okay for my age. And then, through middle school, there was something called the All-City Band, right? And it was like, since there was 2 middle schools in Clifton, right, you kind of like audition and see, like, you get recommended, like, that was like the thing, right? Like, oh shit, this motherfucker got into the All-City Band, like, oh my god.
It's All-City Band.
Yeah, right? So it was like, I was like in it, I think it was like all the years I was in middle school, right? And then, I really started to like jazz like towards the end of my middle school like music career.
What are some of the albums that were influencing you to get into jazz?
That came when I was like in high school, right? But 100% Monin, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, right? Yeah, right. It's like, if I had to say, like, if there's an album like Desert Island albums, like that one amongst a bunch more. But that one was the first one that really made me like understand, like, this isn't just like something that people do. This is like a life. Yeah, this is like love, man. Because like I was hearing Lee Morgan because he was on trumpet, and I would like blare it in my headphones walking through high school. Might I add, like completely baked, because I was like super like stoner, like I was like selling weed and stuff, and like carts and stuff.
Selling
in high school,
weed, listening to jazz, baby.
Yeah, man. So
jazz cabbage. He was smoking jazz cabbage.
It's not a job; it's a lifestyle.
so I would hear that, and a very very memorable moment was when I was in high school in jazz band. Jerome Jennings came to my school. He was at the time the director of the Juilliard Jazz program, but besides that, just a phenomenal, legendary, at this point, drummer. He's one of the guys that is like insane, we were playing and stuff, and like he told me, he was like, yo man, like keep going, like keep doing this. So it was kind of like a I see you moment. And I was like, whoa. And then I remember like listening to that album on my way to the bus, walking back, like nobody could stop me. Like I was walking like on a cloud, man. And like he gave me all this stuff to do, and like I started doing that stuff. And the next time I saw him, I was like, yo Jerome, like I transcribed part of the solo, like, which means like you learn by ear and you play the solo and like you analyze what he was doing like over the chord changes. And like a chord change, chord progression is like essentially like a frame of notes that you can play, and it changes throughout, and it's all in a key, which is like the blueprint for those chord changes. It could be exchanged, I don't know, like on a bass level, you know, you're given like a set of notes in the key, and then the chords are like a, you know, like a deeper elaboration, I guess, of the key, and it could be in the key or out of the key. But I was like analyzing that stuff, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like into it, man. And like he would remember, like it was to the point where he would remember me, and he would be like, oh, like wow, like this is crazy. Like nah, he wouldn't say that, but he would be like surprised that like in this high school where most high school band kids are just like doing it because like they just want to be in band, like he saw that like I wanted to do this like with my life. Because and there's more experiences like that. There was one time where Christian McBride, legendary bass player, yeah man, he's an amazing bass player. He grew up influenced, he's in Philly, like he was influenced by Ray Brown, a phenomenal legend, upright bass player. And he would like, we would see each other at these master classes to the point where like he would understand and like remember me. And I think for a guy that tours the world and meets a lot of people, I think that meant a lot to me, because he would like, to the point we would like kind of chop it up and like shoot the shit, kind of just like how we're doing right now. And it's like, it's like a super reassuring moment when someone like that you essentially look up to and is like a hero in the jazz community could like see you, just see you, you know what I mean?
How is the community of jazz? This is just Northern New Jersey jazz community.
So there's a lot in New Jersey, right? So there's like a lot of sessions. Like there's in Jersey City, there's a lot of sessions that are hosted around where I go to school. There's one at Moore's Place. That's like a bar that's like the owner, Miss Ruth, has been part of the history. Like she's almost 90 now. And she's had the bar since she was young. And she's a part of the community. And another part of that is Winard Harper, this drummer. He's a phenomenal drummer. He's done a lot of stuff. And they host a jam session there. And I'm going to be that guy that like plugs. I'm actually hosting a concert there to like save the NJCU Jazz program, because they made a lot of cuts. So like I talked to Winard and he said that he would be happy to help me. So I'm going to be hosting a concert there to like promote the music. Because, you know, essentially it's not to me really an assault on the program. I think it's assault on the music, in my opinion. That's from my perspective, right? But you know, there's
what do you think? Wait, hold on. Go back to that. It's what is the assault on the music?
So they cut the master's program because of a lot of financial irresponsibilities for the board of directors at NJCU, right? And they're taking away the master's program that is essentially closely knit to the undergrad program, because they like to a lot of times hire internally. So like if you're a master's student and you show promise and that you want to teach, they will then directly hire you from graduating your master's degree into being a faculty member at NJCU. And you will have your own band if you want. You will give private lessons if you want. And without that, you're essentially halting the progress of bridging the gap from studying to instruction. Because I think it's very imperative for any jazz musician at any level to still learn, if not privately, but from going to sessions or playing gigs and like just having conversations with people, just like always learning. So,
see, that's where you and me, I feel like jazz can only be taught out of a book, bro.
See, that's like the thing, like jazz is like a fuck the book, right? Yeah, he's giving jazz is like
John,
I think jazz is kind of like, you know,
I say cut the program.
You know, fuck off.
Music schools.
Everybody, we could save so much money if we just gave them textbooks and taught them how to make jazz out of it.
I think it's quite the contrary, only because jazz is like jazz is a thing where like
There's an app, dude.
there's iReal Pro, fuck off, man. But
It's called Jazzly.
there's like this like thing where like not everyone who plays jazz has this knowledge of music, but kind of does at the same time. And I find that as a jazz musician, you have enough knowledge of music where you can kind of like, when you learn the foundation of chord progressions and stuff, it's important to know the theory and know the book.
Yeah.
But when you get to the point of being a jazz musician and like having bands and like playing with bands and like knowing the standards, because that's what they call them, like the jazz standards, right? Like the songs that everyone should know, quote unquote, right? Which is important, but then you kind of get to make your own dictation of like, I'm gonna play the chord changes, but like I'm gonna do something like this to like put my own sound on it. Where it's like you can't really teach that. You can't teach that at all, really. Like it kind of has to be something that's within you. It kind of has to be like this, like you were born to play music. Like when you're at that level of playing music.
How do you feel about like the tension between playing standards versus like, you know, and paying respect to like the old masters versus branching out and, you know, like changing away from what jazz has been in the past, making new sounds? Like,
yeah, that's a great question.
You know, like Wynton Marsalis's verse "Bad Bad Not Good." You know?
Yeah. So I think previously what I was addressing was it's important to know the knowledge of music, right? And it's important to know where the roots come from, right? But I think then I would say even further that those greats were breaking barriers when they were making those things. So, and this is just how I feel, that I don't think they may understand, not that they wouldn't be able to musically understand, but they wouldn't be able to, you know, conceptualize where it goes immediately, although they're great and they would most likely be able to get onto it. But I think that they would be happy that people are taking these strides to just like make this new definition of what sound is. And if you're,
and couldn't have known that 808s were coming.
Yeah, man. I mean, 808s are like a whole new thing. Yeah, 808s are like, you know, super, like they're given like the connotation of like hip hop and like trap and drill music, but there's also a really good place for them. But a great example of that is Christian Scott. I can't say
Christian Scott.
Dude, he is like
I thought that was a fucking genre.
Yeah, dude, he is
I was like what?
He is like making like all these strides in jazz, and like he is what I would like to say is like on the forefront of creation of music, because like he has a drummer that has like pads that does like trap snares and like trap 808s, but like he's playing line and like they're playing the music, man. It's like that was like a great thing. But I was gonna say, like, if you're at a gig full of dudes that are older than you and you got called to play standards, don't be mad at them for vibing you if you're not playing how it should be played.
Yeah.
And I think to your own artistic discretion, you can kind of play outside and go back in, which that means you can kind of leave the tonal center, leave the key, leave the chords, but you have to return and kind of do it in a way that makes it seem like you know what you're doing and not that like you're just trying to do shit. Because like trying to do shit like is cool, and that's like what jazz is, but like there's like purists that will like always disagree with how certain people do things. So it's like kind of just like this minefield of like, do I play what the old heads want me to play because they've been playing with for so long, and they probably know somebody, because most older jazz guys have played with or know somebody, right? Yeah. So there's that, and then there's like, do I want to explore my own artistic exploration? Where it's like, I think if you're just listening and you're just trying to play with your heart and your soul, like you'll do both without thinking about it. And it sounds a lot easier than it is. But I think once you have that background knowledge on all that stuff, that you'll be able to you know, kind of do both and know the place. Because it's like, at a jam session, bro, do whatever you want. I am like the person that's like, there's going to be cats that are going to like vibe you, but like, do whatever the fuck you want, man. Like, you're only gonna see them when you go to the session, and then like if they call you for a gig, or if you're on a gig with them, it's probably just because you share the same or a similar skill set that they do, and you arrived in the same place as them for either a different reason or the same reason, but an underlying cause is there, you know? So, in my opinion, I think kind of just like no, I don't know, like it's so hard for me to expect people to like know the moment, but like I think it's like a complicated thing that it's like just play what you love, and if people don't love it, like that's cool, like appreciate the insight that they're giving you from their perspective, but they're also not you, so it's like that kind of thing, you know. That was a great question, man. That was phenomenal, dude, really. This is I'm enjoying this. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's like, you know, I'm really giving some knowledge here. So it's like,
bro.
and I'm like,
it's weird because I'm like kind of new to the jam session. I'm new to jam session. Like before, like when I was exploring music, man, I was telling in the earlier podcast I was a Logic 9 just like beat guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And I would talk to people and we would compare each other's beats, but there's no like real like the collaboration is like maybe I feed you a sample and we're flipping something a certain way. It's not necessarily as like, oh, you're gonna like, oh, there's a vibe and you can pick up on the vibe. And I'm getting back into that swing of
no pun intended.
No, yeah, but I'm tired. Which is crazy because I was getting into that. It's weird. Jon is a drummer.
We spoke, man.
Yeah. When I what's it called? When I was talking about it, it's more of it was easier for me to be able to like, all right, this is how like my drums are laid, and it was very like formulaic and very like robotic in a sense where you can quantize. And,
yeah, but
you'll get
that. You'll get that from Logic. That's the thing.
You'll get it, and it makes like, oh, this is human sense. But like, there's no human aspect to it. And when I started to leave beats, I was just trying to search for like a human aspect of making it. So I went to the SPs and like the hardware pieces because there's a lot of like human error in it. It's not like this is something that I can edit and like polish. It was just like I just want to have like a raw thing like this. Like this has very, very minimal editing. You know what I mean? This is just us having a conversation. Yeah, man, to go in to have like different swings and to enter the jam sessions and shit. And it's strange because I'm not necessarily like trained in the like, you know what I mean? I'm okay at like keyboard. I like played it in high school, but like, but I was like, all right, this is da-da-da-da, and I would study a little bit, but then I started to fall on a more visual one, and now it's this reapproach where it was like, all right, like this is like I'm going this at 16ths, and it's like to be able to hear and picking up on vibes and different things is beautiful. It's a conversation in a different language.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you said that because music is essentially language, man. I think the more that you speak it, the more you'll understand it, and to even go deeper on that, I think there are several different dialects of the language of music, you know, based on genre and like everything else. But what I wanted to say was there's also a lot of opportunity for the human aspect of drum machines because like we were talking before about like Dilla. Like Dilla made I think what was it, the NPC?
Yeah,
he made
the swings.
He made the NPC sound like a drum because he was drumming on that machine, right? Yeah. But I think it was because he like didn't quantize his notes. It was because he kind of just left it to like what it was, and then he essentially formed this like niche groove, right? Because it was not even niche. Like you can apply it to most, like literally anything, probably, right? And like people are like, "Oh no, don't say that." I've seen it happen before. Like I've been playing a gig with a drummer that I love to play with, and then like we're going off, and then out of nowhere he's like, and then back to the swing, where it's like, yes, that is like super experimental, but like it fits because
it's human.
It's human, and
bro.
I think
jazz is human.
I was just gonna say, I think jazz is a very, very derivative form of humanity. And not even to take away from it, because it is not it is culture and it is love and it is life. But I think that the place that it comes from is you know, because not to get super deep here, well, maybe to get super deep, it kind of comes from the human suffering that was going on from slavery, man. And it kind of is like, it started off as like slave songs, and then it turned into like more bluesy stuff, and then it turned into like early jazz with like Louis Armstrong and like Bix and like those people, and then kind of came bebop. And then, you know, there's like more, there was swing first, like big band like Duke Ellington and like Count Basie and stuff. And then there was like bebop, which was like, all right, we have established that we are very good at this. Let's make it even harder. So let's make the tempo incredibly fast, and let's make a bunch of chord changes where it's like it's that fast. And then there was just, you know, there's a lot of stuff, you know, and it all comes from like these, you know, humans and pioneers of their art form to really just not only love but also perpetuate this music, you know, because it became huge, and I still think that it is now, but there's a much more like niche community for it. So it's like, you know, there's concerts, there's these crowds and stuff that if you go to shows enough and you go to jam sessions enough, you'll start to run into the same people, because it's like this community, and it needs to exist because it's very functional to the human existence for us, you know, because it's we, you know,
say challenges the language.
We also can't say, if we ever can't say something verbally, like if we're having a hard time articulating something verbally, it's oftentimes coming out in our playing through our spirit, which is what I believe, man. I think when you really get into it and you're like in the zone, right? Like there's this pianist, Kenny Werner, right? And he talks about like effortless mastery, right? And he's like, stop fucking trying. Just like be yourself and go into what he calls the space, right? Which is like, whenever I improvise, I don't know why I put like such a weird accent on that, but whenever I improvise, you enter this space, like I close my eyes when I improvise. So I just like, I'm thinking about the knowledge that I need to know to like get me through the tune, right?
Yeah.
Quote unquote, because you never want to just get through it, but you're also just focusing on the sound that you are, essentially, because I think that you become the sound, right? Like as a musician, I think you kind of become the sound that you're producing, and I've spoken about that to people, and like when I say that to people, they're like, whoa, like I'm probably not the only person to think of that, but when I thought of that, I was like, whoa, that's like a really different way to think about things that provides you a freedom that you don't normally have, because you can sometimes transcend technical knowledge on the instrument. You can sometimes transcend you know, being in the moment. You can transcend all that by just like being in the moment and kind of just like being comfortable enough with your instrument to take these risks that sometimes they suck, sometimes they fucking suck to you, and you're just like, oh my god, what did I just do? But it's essentially just like exploring further out that much more. So you're like, okay, like I can go out there, but I need to know how to come back, because going out is a thing, but coming back is like, you know, going out into the space is like, I'm doing all this stuff, but there's also like thinking about the musical aspects of it, where it's like
you're traveling a little bit.
Yeah, traveling and stuff. And like a good friend of mine, like after I was talking to you off air, was I had a session and I was like thinking about playing all the right stuff, because I was having like all these really cool cats come through, like really great musicians and stuff, and I was thinking about playing the right thing. And then, you know, it's more about just like the intensity curve. That's what a term that is used, like the intensity curve of a solo, where I may not even abide by this most times. I sometimes am still like gaining my, you know, my vocabulary out there. Yeah. Where it's like start off, right, for the podcast, I'm like making a mountain thing at the bottom of the,
a story arc,
at the bottom. It is a story arc.
It's
right?
crazy because the story arc appears in everything.
It does,
and there's a lot of the art forms are all completely relative. This is an art form I never really thought I would. Actually, I didn't think I would. I've been trying to do it, but I've been always trying to find a form for this. Mm-hmm. It's been like a couple years of finding the form, before it was like gonna be like, you know, let me like interview movies, and then it's like there's like people who have their own vibes to shit, but it's like this in itself is like an art form where we're having a story, and it's like we're able to converse. That shit is in a movie, that shit is in a book, that shit is in imagery, it's in
that shit's
fucking,
in life, man.
I know. It's this golden ratio that's like underlying in all of these art forms, and it's like fucking, it's nuts, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, the story arc really helps, and I think when you think about the story arc when you're playing, if you think about it when you're not playing a gig enough,
the intensity is fucking so high that
because
it's like
if
this
you
climax.
if you start like all the way up here
Sex.
for the podcast, like I'm like above my head, like with my hand, like
You gotta do a little foreplay.
if you're all the way up there,
a little XLR.
that's cool, right? Like it's cool to start up there, but just know that if you start up there, you have to grow past that. And if you're starting your solo playing at your highest capabilities as a musician, and you know for a fact that you can't go any higher at the moment because you're still learning, I think you will reach this point of stagnancy where it's like everything is like blah 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 blah, like you're playing all this stuff. And I struggle with that as well. That's like one of the main things that one of my friends that I was playing with gave me advice on, where it's like, you play a lot of cool shit, but just pick your moments, where it's like start off like with little ideas, right? Boda.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like cooking sometimes. Like I've had some friends who were like, you know, they would like have all this like passion for cooking, but they would want to put like all the flavors into every dish, and it's like, no, you gotta have a focus, and this is what you're doing this time. The next time you can you know, make it a cheese thing, and this time you can make it like a sweet thing, and then the time after that you can make it like a spicy thing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but like you know, you have like, you need to have an identity, you know, and you can switch it, you can play with it, you can like, you know, I think with soloing, I don't know if this is the way you think about it, but like I always imagine, I'm feeling like what are the expectations of the people, of like the audience, like what is, and sometimes you give them what they want, and sometimes you like, you know, let it out in front of them and then don't give it to them.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think thank you. Yeah, that's a great analogy. And what I will say is even if let's just say, right, like we'll just analogize it, like I'll analogize it to kind of piggyback off of you, is like, even if it's not one dish, right, like let's just say like improvising is like a 4-course meal, right? You're not gonna just like stuff your face with like all the flavors at once, right? Like you eat the appetizer first, and then you eat, I don't know what comes after that because I don't have 4-course meal, like soup or like something like. And then when you're like really, like when you are really enjoying the meal, it's when you get to the main course. And I think if you kind of like use that, I guess, as an analogy, where it's like, all right, cool, like appetizer, let them compute, and then like you start to do more lines and stuff, and then like at the top you're like whatever, you know, it's like that's the entree, but yeah, that's great. And I think when I, because I didn't forget about the other thing you said, when I improvise, I sometimes like don't think, where it's like, that's like, people are like, oh man, like you gotta think, like you gotta like land on these chords and stuff, and like, yes, that is all true, right? But I think when you have so much background knowledge, not saying that I am a person that can do this, I sometimes am able to do this, where you have enough knowledge, before the gig about music theory and stuff, and you've played the tunes enough, you can kind of like not forget about that, but put that like on the back burner, where it's like, I already know.
It becomes a feel thing.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, like, what's that sound that I just heard? Oh, like, are we on the A or are we on the B section? Or like, are they just taking this harmonic detour that I'm following, that I'm leading them on? And how can we get back there, right? Which is like, you know, I can say all these things super beautifully, but then sometimes when I try to play them, you know, they either work out and then they don't, or they don't work out. Where it's like, you know, fuck yeah, like, let's have like some Wagyu steak in the middle of my solo. Like, let's have a bunch of shit. And then like all the steak is just like in the first chorus. And then you're like, oh shit. Like,
where do I go from
repetition makes validity. Like you just repeat something enough to make a break or something, and then like try to figure it out. But it's like it's all musical, but you know, sometimes it's like not with the storyline, I guess. And like I am, you know, a culprit of this sometimes. I am most times, you know, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like I'm still growing. So it's like the best solos that I've taken have followed the intensity arc, not the intensity arc, but an intensity arc. And
What's your favorite solo you've played, and your favorite solo that you listen like this is the best solo of all time?
okay, so I think one of the best solos I've played, there are like a few that I think, right? So one it takes me back to I did a recital, my friend's recital last May, right? And we were playing a bunch of really like killing tunes. Like we opened up with like Segment by Charlie Parker. So like but it like super like heavy stuff, and I was like doing okay on that. And then like I was doing okay, like we did a blues, and then like one of my favorite tunes at the time and still now, like Impressions by Jon Cohen, sure. Right? It came on, like we played it. It came on. We made it come on because we were playing it. I was like super nervous beforehand because I was like, damn, like these cats are killing. Like they invited me to play with them, and like I want to make sure that I leave a mark on this, like a good one, obviously, right? So like everyone solos, like someone else. I think I solo first or whoever solos, and then I solo, right? And I'm just like, I don't fucking care about anything else right now. Like eyes are closed. Like in a suit and tie, like in this crowded bar, it's fucking hot as fuck, I'm sweating, fuck it, we're in the moment. And I just so happen to, non-ironically, have followed the curve of intensity.
Yeah.
My curve of intensity, where it's like, you give a little bit, and then by the middle, like, I'm cooking, man. Like, we're cooking. Like, it's to the point where people are like cheering, like, yeah, like, woo. And then I like wind it down. And, like, when I finished, like, it was just, like, everyone knew that was the end of this very momentous thing. And they just all started applauding. And I don't think it was the magnitude of the applause, but I think it was just the applause itself. Where, like, people were like, that was a moment that I was in. And it was a thing. And I appreciate that moment. And, like, I'm not going to discount it or exaggerate it. Like, everyone went kind of nuts. Like everyone was like, yeah, woo, and I kind of was just like, I looked at my friend who was like the horn player, like the other horn player, Jalen Shiver, great alto saxophone player. I'll like send this to him and be like, oh, I put you in here like 20 minutes in, but I looked at him because like, you know, he's a phenomenal musician. So like him and I are friends, but then sometimes I'm like at this learning space from him because like he's my age, but he's such a phenomenal musician where it's like, I'm going to see what I can, like, you know, absorb from what you have to offer, right? So I looked at him, and he was like, don't fucking look at me, man. That shit was, like, he was like, that shit was amazing. Like, he gave me, like, the nod. He was like, don't even look at me. Like, mm-hmm. But that was my favorite, one of my favorites. There's also more, like, recital stuff and, like, concert stuff where, like, I'm just super loose and feeling. That one's super memorable. And then for my favorite solo of all time that, you know, it's very, very, like, it's close, man, because I've got, like, Lee Morgan on the Moanin' album, on the title track, Moanin', mm-hmm. because that solo, like, I play some of those lines, man. I transcribe some of yeah, man. Yeah. There's, like, like, all the, like, the everything, man, like, the feel, the articulation and stuff, and then there's, like, these new cats, like, there's this new cat, Benny Benak, man, and he's like super like post-bop, like super like fucking like white dude in a suit playing a bunch of jazz gigs, and like he's like seems like he's coked out. I don't know if he is or not, but like he's like super like that's how like he's amazing, right? And like he's got solos on albums, like there's Alexander Claffey, Good Spirits. Like he has a solo on multiple tunes where I'm like, oh my god, dude. Like one that stands out to me is like fucking like Beeb's Lament. I haven't heard of that as a standard. I think that's like Alex Claffey's tune. There's there's fucking For the Great, I can't remember it, but there's many solos on that album where he's like this dude who's like out here, like legitimately out here in New York now doing things with jazz, and essentially like putting a really good, modern take on it. And then like, there's other cats out here that are like, like super crazy where it's like, like Give to Angelin, or I may have mispronounced his name, but he's like this guy who went to Juilliard, and he's like playing a lot of shit in New York now, and he's amazing. Like his solos and stuff, like I think like, and his solos on his album are phenomenal, but I think I like him at jam sessions more, where it's like I see a video of him and it's like, you like weren't thinking about anything but like playing the music, and like I'm not taking away from his skill set at all as a musician, because he's a phenomenal trumpet player. Like there's nothing, there's no doubt about that. But I think I really admire the natural experience of improvisation, where it's like you can kind of tell that someone was like, this is how I feel. But yeah, those are some of my solos. It's hard to say. What about you, man? What about you?
Me? My favorite solos?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, there's an album I really listened to a lot in college called Floating Point by John McLaughlin.
Okay, I don't believe I've heard of that.
It's okay. You know John McLaughlin.
I'm not gonna be that guy that's like, oh yeah, man. Like
no, that's okay. So John McLaughlin, he's like a well-known guitar, like kind of jazz fusion guitar guy for people listening, and he did this whole set of records with Indian jazz musicians, and I don't even remember the guy's name who's the drummer on that album. Is just like. Because Indian, if you know anything about like Indian classical music, like the rhythms are really way more fluid than the rhythms in Western music. Like Indian music is way more complex.
Oh, for sure, yeah. They don't even abide by like the 12-tone thing.
They don't do 12 tones, and they don't do beats. They do groups of notes instead of having like quarter notes. So it's very fluid, and the drummers on that album just blew me away. I don't even remember the names of them. I knew them at some point when I was in college. I haven't listened to that album, and it's hard to find that album. Actually, it's not on Spotify.
Oh shit!
It's like hard to actually find that album.
That's what.cd.
Is it on Apple Music? Do you think it's on Apple Music or?
It might be on Apple Music. It's called Floating Point.
Floating Point.
There's also there's the keyboard solo on oh my god.
Damn.
I just showed this. I showed this solo to you. I showed this solo to you a couple weeks ago, and now on Lingus by Snarky Puppy.
I found it, dude.
Oh, you found it? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first two songs are fire.
Okay,
There's
cool.
a Baji for Ali Raka or something. Yeah, amazing.
I'll give it a listen, man.
It's a cool album. You got to get over like John McLaughlin has a very 80s kind of sound because he does like guitar synth. He doesn't do guitar.
Okay.
So you gotta get over that a little bit, but it's the musicianship on that album's incredible.
I'm also like super into like Chick Corea, so like I'm.
Oh
cool.
yeah, then
like,
you'll be down for
cool.
it.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Humpty Dumpty, man. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, dude. But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is.
No, I mean I was gonna say I remember the first time. I remember specifically the first time I watched the video on YouTube of Lingus. It was the first time I saw Snarky Puppy.
Oh god.
And I just like watched it and I was like, what the fuck? I just played it again and played it again and played it again. Like holy shit, these guys are rocking.
Yeah, man. I mean, like Corey Henry is like. I don't even know, man. Like, I don't even know how to describe it other than like, oh my god. But yeah, that's definitely a great solo. Like that's definitely a great thing.
The keyboard solo is just incredible. He's just like, and it doesn't have the curve. I was thinking about this whole time. That's why I came up, because it doesn't have the curve. It starts slow and it grows, but it doesn't have a peak and then wind down. It just keeps going and keeps growing and keeps growing, and then when it can't grow anymore, then the band comes in, so then you can keep kicking him more, and he keeps going with it.
I think I totally agree with you, man. Like I went on that whole thing about like the intensity curve, and I think that's just probably because as far as my personal development goes, like that's what I need to think about.
No, I mean
more,
it's smart for sure.
But it's also like you bring up a super valid point where it's like there's so many solos that didn't follow that, where it's like they're still amazing, and I think I appreciate you for saying that, only because it inspired me to think like just fucking do your thing, man, and like come out guns blazing, but just keep it guns blazing. Like I think it's because he maintained that sort of like insanity, where it's like that. I think, for lack of a better intensity curve, quote unquote, right? It's like it wasn't much of one, but it was like insane throughout the whole thing. So it was like it kind of maintained that sort of like crazy thing, man. So it's like
And I also like a lot of subtle stuff too. Like I would call myself a pocket drummer.
Okay, cool.
You know, so like I don't, you know, I listened and I was really, when I was a kid, I was really into Buddy Rich and Keith Moon and all the big drummers, you know. But I like a lot more like just little notes, little beats, little just accents here and there. Like, and it's kind of like you know, a lot of the. You know, like I think a lot about like what Hiatus Coyote does. Like they have so much subtlety in their music.
I fucking love them, dude.
Yeah, and that is, they're not showy, you know, but they're technically, what they're doing is like it's really hard,
insane, yeah.
But it doesn't feel showy at all, and I feel like that is, you know, way more than like. Compared to like a Maynard Ferguson, you're a trumpet player, you know, where like he's all showy and fireworks and look how high of a note I can play, and it's like the opposite of that.
I have a trumpet instructor that I study with. I don't know if I should name drop him now because he said some like shit where he was like, oh, Maynard Ferguson is like undeniably a phenomenal trumpet player, but like all his later stuff was definitely marketed towards like I can play high notes.
Yes, yeah.
Right. But yeah, man, I forgot what I was gonna say. I think I was gonna say what were you saying before?
We were talking about the intensity curve and like there's different shapes it can take, and we were talking about like complex versus subtle solos.
Oh yes, Hiatus Coyote, right?
Yeah, Hiatus Coyote.
Thank you for reminding me, man. I think it was because you know, it kind of goes back to, you can obviously disagree with me if you do, but I think it kind of goes back to if you have enough knowledge that it becomes a natural thing for you to just do all this crazy shit. It sounds so chill, but then like I sometimes like go to pick up my horn and like follow what they're doing. I'm like, oh shit, they're like doing this, like they're like in this thing where it's like, and they do sound so chill, man. Like they sound like, I think like what a lot of people go for is like that vibe. And like I at one point I was like, I want to go for that vibe, but it's like, do I want to go for that vibe or do I want to go for that freedom? That's the thing where it's like, because their music is fucking phenomenal, dude. Like I listen to their music and I'm just like, wow. And like what I like about them so much is like people who don't know much about music are like, this sounds so good. And like I'm like kind of looking at them like, word, like this does sound so fucking good. It
translates. Like, it's really complex music, but it translates to people who aren't in like deep in jazz.
I think that's
somehow
the goal.
It transcends.
I think that's the goal, man. I think like, you know, not the only goal, but I think that's a huge thing to attain, where it's like wow, like my music may be super duper complex, and it could be interpreted as deeply or as not shallowly, or as non-deeply, I guess, for lack of a better term at the moment, but at any level it's enjoyable. And I think that is what I enjoy about music and life, dude, because it's like, you want to wake up every day and like completely be like super ignorant and not do anything, like you're gonna enjoy yourself. But you can also enjoy yourself by being super perceptive of the world and trying to make those small differences and small changes that will make your life that much better. Where it's like, it could relate to everything, like music, life, dude. Like, because I think music and life are super like intertwined. Like,
sure.
Like, but yeah, dude, this is like a phenomenal conversation. Like, I'm like super digging this. Like,
an afternoon FM.
Take
bro.
a moment to like appreciate
afternoon
it.
FM, bro.
Do you think it'd be cool if I like took a moment to like talk about the stuff I do in Jersey City?
Talk
like,
about whatever you want, bro.
Yes.
This is you're my guest, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Fucking come back.
I will. This is like amazing, dude. Yeah, both of you guys are great, man. You individually, bro. Each of you, man.
No, wait for the jam session after this.
Oh, it's gonna be sick, dude. Yeah, stay tuned, man. Yeah, hell yeah.
Stay tuned. Zeitoun, joined by Jon Cohen.
Yeah, man.
Got Parker in the building. Do you go by any stage name, or is it
just Parker, man? Just Parker. Just like just Parker.
Oh yeah, you gotta know Parker. They're gonna be like,
yeah, man. I mean,
Tommy Parker? No, Parker, bro.
But
Charles Parker.
Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker.
No, but that may be a different dude. But
I feel like I'm like I thought I was like kind of a jazz nerd. Like I was like all right, yo. I was like I could talk some shit about Rashawn Roland Kirk and shit, and fucking like Mulat, you know what I mean, like Fela Kuti and shit like that. But you guys are on like a whole different like. You're like, yeah, bro, the drum solo on fucking. I'm like, all right, word. I'm like, yo, fuck yeah. This is the beautiful part of it.
I think it does ultimately derive from like this appreciation that we have for the music, man. And like, it's not like people would like to think that it's like an elitist thing, and sometimes like if people,
it's a love,
if people
bro.
don't understand it,
it's like watching a flower bloom, bro.
I can sometimes like, and I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes I'll fake gatekeep shit from my friends and be like, yo, what song is that? I'll be like, shit, you wish you knew. But like, obviously, I'll give it to them.
It's like it's weird how I got into music and actually what led me into art in general. And I always credit this shit, man. It's my cousin. Back in the day, like there were like iPods and shit.
Yeah,
I
like
had
the shuffle, the fucking Nano.
I got like a Nano when I was younger. And I had this shitty one. I had this like old one, and I fucking this is back, bro. Like my cousin used to collect shit. He was like one of the first few dudes before torrent sites were torrent sites. My cousin had like a thing where you could pirate. It was called What.CD. And it was this like very niche music community where you could find like unreleased Fishbone and shit like that before like the kick-ass torrents and fucking like LimeWire had his shit. Like LimeWire is where you got the singles and all the singles.
Dude, this is like all
had
before
ads
my
and
time,
shit on
dude.
them.
This is like all before my time, but I know what it is. But
yeah,
it's
but
like...
my cousin kind of gatekeeps, but he fucking
you're like
he doesn't gate. He tries to turn you on to it, bro. But it's like the whole shit that actually kind of made me a little bit of like the person I am, man, is fucking a lot of it too. I still listen to the shit because it turns you on to different like things. But I developed my music taste. My brother had his own music taste, and my cousin had like jazz and oldies, 50s. Like my uncle is the only like New Jersey DJ. He's old as fuck. He's obviously not really DJing anymore, but DJ Teen Angel. He was this guy who he sung. He was in a doo-wop band in Patterson in the 1950s.
Wow.
And and he fucking he DJs vinyl, and he would just go around. Then he'd do all the doo-wop like Dion and like the old shit. My cousin turned me on to jazz, man. But like I remember specifically one night I fucking left. I had an iPod. And I had like the older iPod, so it would be hard for like shit to transfer over, like the data. It's like an old USB drive, you know what I mean? Like So I had to leave it on his computer like covertly for like 48 hours, and fucking I got like I think like 160 gigs of fucking music, and it's kind of like. It's just because he has such an not even eclectic music taste. It's just he has such a vast music taste that it got me into like Ethiopian jazz and like
shit,
a lot of like
send that my way, man. Yeah.
You need to listen if you haven't listened.
Who's the real
if you haven't listened to Ethiopian jazz, man, you need to get on that shit. Oh my god, it's so good.
I've heard, man.
But what are you up to though?
See, but as far as music or
you said you wanted to talk about what you're doing in Jersey City.
I did, yeah. I just didn't want to at all get in the way of like this thing, like this great thing. Hey man, how's it going? I didn't want to at all get in the way of your thing because like ultimately like it's bringing the experience more intimate because the more we know about each other, the more.
It's the beauty of it, bro. Yeah. So for the record, bro, I don't even know. I didn't know who you were before this.
Yeah, man. I mean, now you know, man.
Exactly. No, I know, but look at how deep the conversation is dug.
Yeah.
Look at how beautiful, like, and like how much you could all share.
Yeah, man. I mean, more about what I'm doing is just
Go right in. Go if you want to go into plug mode, you can go into plug mode.
Yeah, dude. I'm not gonna do full plug mode. I'm gonna do like medium plug mode.
Medium
right?
plug mode.
I do a decent amount of stuff in Jersey City. I play with a group. We don't have a name yet, but I know that's not very helpful, but we play a lot. So it's like
you'll find us in Jersey City.
Yeah, so it's like I'll go and name the band. So it's Tyler Lopez on drums. Excuse me. He grew up in Jersey City. He studies with me at NJCU Jazz. He's a phenomenal drummer, really. One of my favorite, if not my favorite drummer to play with, honestly. I love him so much. He's like a brother to me. These guys are all like brothers to me, right? We got super close. Funny enough, doing that recital that I was telling you about, like one of my favorite solos, right? Because those are my boys. Like I feel super comfortable with them. So Then we've got Ahmad Bradley on bass, quite literally one of my best friends in the world. Great guy, grew up in Patterson in this area, right? Upright bass player, electric bass player. We've got Gustavo Carballo on guitar, phenomenal guitarist. Grew up in Central Jersey and like West Bubblefuck, wherever. I don't know. Sorry, Gus, but you know, he's like a young cat, man, and like he's really doing it. Like he's really out here playing and shit. And we play a lot together. It doesn't like essentially the context of the gig doesn't really matter. We've done many different gigs. We've done. We did like this NJ Pack sponsored thing in the park in Newark. We've done like a Maplewood gig. We've done multiple things, right? But recently I've started hosting an open mic in Jersey City at the Jersey City Loft, which is like a super up and coming. Like they're like a lot of things are being done there, and like I'm hosting an open mic with my friend Dan Self Perpetual.
Oh, word. Okay,
yeah, that's
word.
my boy. Yeah, so we're doing that. I'm also, like I said before, I'm hosting that concert at Moore's. And there's more to come, man. I mean, I played at Pet Shop, which is a bar downtown. I really like it. They really loved me. Everyone there loved me. So, like, I might be playing there more. You know, I play a lot of jazz. I play a lot of neo soul. I'm rapping. I do spoken word. I sing. So it's kind of just like wherever the music.
You do all at the same time.
I've done in the same set. I've rapped, played jazz, and sung. Yeah.
All right, bet.
So at Pet Shop, and it was like a 20-minute like. It was a huge thing, man. Like where I advertised, like I made posters, and like a lot of people came to see us, and like. Not only that, but just like the community, man, like the immersive community of artists that is in Jersey City. And now that I'm discovering about here, man, because I'd love to show my face more here, man. I'd love to come around here.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
more.
when y'all gonna play a show of Prototype?
Dude, let's do. Oh shit! All right, I'll hit the boys up. Yeah, like yeah, man. So
let's get it rocking.
We'll do it, man, for sure. We'll get people. We'll set up like a cover charge or something. We'll get some drinks going or something like. Off the record, but you know, because the whole liquor license.
But there's no liquor license, bro. It's just a myth.
Just fucking suggested donation, I guess. But
I want to put the.
but that and yeah, I'm just my Instagram. I'll do it now. Like PGOD.1. PGod1 is like kind of cringy, but like it's been my Instagram name for a long time. No,
he is the God one. He is the first God.
I don't align myself.
There's first P God.
But
there are other gods after Parker.
But
he is the first P God.
But it's that's my Instagram. I post a lot of stuff in my playing. Like I have a lot of stuff set up there. I have a lot of highlights going. I post a lot about my gigs on my stories, and it's like super informative because like I'll make it super like formal and stuff. Yeah. So it's like, you know, I'm doing this now and I'm doing this, and like when I get super busy, because I do get super busy at times, I'll have to like post something of a picture of me or like a video or something, or most likely a picture. But then I'll do like a bunch of like this date I'm doing this date I'm doing this here, this date I'm doing like a bunch of like all the dates, and then closer to the dates I'll individually advertise the dates, and it's worked, man. It's worked a lot. Where it's like I've grown a lot, man. Where it's like a year ago, like I wasn't doing anything like this, and now I'm like on a podcast. I'm like playing gigs and stuff, and like people are like. You know, in the community,
man.
It
really is community.
In the community that is NJCU Jazz, I've heard not only from other people around me, like my peers, I've heard from the instructors that like people are starting to look up to me for like this example that I'm setting, and I'm not at all putting myself on a pedestal, but it's like I want to say compared to where I was 2 years ago. To now, I think if you really want to change, you can change, but you just have to want to do it, and you just have to hold yourself accountable to doing it. And it's something that people have heard so many times, but I'm an example of it. I'm not the most successful man in the world now, but I don't know if I will be, but I'll be very successful because the way that the trajectory that I'm on right now is only leading upwards, you know. So it's like, you know, just fucking like, even if you have to write it down, like, what do you not like about yourself? What can you do to change that about yourself? And what are you currently doing to change that about yourself? Even if it's like two things, even if it's one thing, like, I don't like how I do this. All right, why don't I like that? How can I change it? Change it. If you don't like it, that's what matters. Because you're always going to have people say, like, oh, no, like, it's cool, man. Like, we accept you. That's great. Being accepted is great. but there's a difference between being accepted and not being your best self, because being your best self will ultimately get you so much love and acceptance because you're being so authentically you. So it's like, just be yourself, do everything, just literally do everything. Like, even if you don't like it, even if you don't like it in the moment, you learn. If you like it, you keep doing it. Like, even if it sucks, like, go to jam sessions if you're a musician. Like, I am a fucking culprit of that. Like, I'm preaching, but I need to actually go to more jam sessions, and I will after this. Like, we're going directly downstairs.
We're going
upstairs. Upstairs. Oh yeah, upstairs. Shout out to Prototype, man. But go to jam sessions. Like, record all you're playing. Literally, like, besides like your rudimental stuff, besides like your long tones and stuff, and even record that shit, dude. Like, record on your phone and like listen. Cause if you don't listen, no one else is gonna listen to that degree of yourself, right? Where it's like, I played at a jam session and I fucking hated how I sounded, but what do I really hate about that? Do I hate how I musically approached it? Do I hate how I humanely approached? Do I hate how I approached it from a humanity standpoint, or do I hate where I was psychologically at the moment? Because then you can kind of like get super deep into it and like change how you do things, and you can kind of just like change how you operate from those super intimate details. And like, it's, you know, it's been very good for me. It's been something where it's like, I fucking hated this so much. I'm gonna listen to it even if I hate listening to it. What can I take from it that I learned that I like doing, and what can I not never do again, but never do again in that way that I hated it? So, and even if it's like, I literally showed you, what's your name again? I'm so sorry.
John.
John?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
All good.
I'm really sorry.
You can make up a name.
I showed him a like a 50-second clip of me, right, at a jam session. That recording that I recorded was like 40 minutes long, and I wasn't playing for the whole 40 minutes. But if I get 50 seconds out of 40 minutes, I think it's a victory, because then you can apply that knowledge to the rest of your playing. And it's like, or even like, I'll take it to the world, man. Like, even if you're not a musician, like if you're like anything, give me like a profession. I'm gonna like, what's a profession? Like,
oh, what?
Give me any profession. Like,
I'd say David Blaine is professional.
Okay,
I don't know why
David Blaine. So as a
one.
magician, right? That's what he is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
David Blaine is a magician.
So
that guy's a professional.
he sees his sets, right, or his shows, right, and he records them, or they're recorded by many things already, because he's at that level of his career where it's like insane, right? He can watch it over again and see anything that he didn't like. Like, I don't like how I addressed the crowd in this way. I don't like how I segued into this trick. I don't like how I did this trick. You can look at it and change it, but it takes the practice to change it. It takes like being in the moment and being like, I remember I didn't like that, so I'm gonna do it differently while still doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing it, but you're simultaneously perceiving that you want to change how you do it, so you change how you do it while you're doing it.
Do you feel like that's an essential task of being able to review, or do you feel like there is a specific moment? So like in acting, there's a couple different like techniques of how to approach it. There's like Stanislavski, there's like the Meisner method. There's improv, and there's all of these different things. This is a completely different medium. Stanislavski is like, and then there's the method, with the Lee Strasberg method. The method acting is. I
think that's the most recent.
Is that's when you're really like, you know, like I'm playing. I am the character of Thelonious Monk, and you know what I mean, like, and
I think I think it
I am
offers
John Coltrane. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like but that's an act is an act.
I was gonna say, I think
Stanislavski, it has this thing,
this
where
method.
Stanislavski has a recollection thing where it's you are the son of a divorced parentry, so you are recalling yourself in these situations, so you're bringing on these feelings. Do you find it like that?
Yeah.
And then there's also Glenn Close, I believe. I think Glenn Close is the godfather of the improv in terms of acting.
Okay.
The improv, like the one that taught like Second City.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong with the footage, but in Second City, which is all an improv thing. This isn't acting. is a yes and.
Oh yeah,
A yes
so
and, like as if it was music. There's the philosophy of yes and then there's the philosophy of like, say, because I feel like all mediums are all transcending at one time. There's the philosophy of fucking like the Stanislavski thing where it's like I recall feeling like fucking Jon Coltrane and Supreme,
okay, cool.
or like Nas and Illmatic, and I feel like that's like
Questlove kind of plays like that a lot.
yeah,
What's up?
yeah.
Questlove plays like that a lot. Where he'll be like, I'm gonna be like this drummer at this place, and like that's
Yeah,
kind of how he plays his.
I want to,
Beautiful.
not to interrupt, I just want to gain a little bit more insight so I can answer your question to my fullest extent. So you mean, is there a certain way to go about reviewing yourself? Is
Yes.
okay, so I think what
Like, but there's also the people that never review their takes. Like
See,
Jay-Z
but-
is a like he'll review his takes in like an album, but not necessarily the one take whatever, but he just does his whole shit in one take.
I think it's
Like, and that's his like release, and that's what it is.
see, I think I don't have any aggression or any judgment towards Jay-Z for doing that, but I think my personal thing is like
You're
this
analytical.
is separating me completely from Jay-Z because he seems like an alright guy, but
Yeah.
like I just
He's doing okay.
yeah, right. But I think in order to be your best self as a musician, creator, person, whatever you are, right? I think you need to perceive yourself in the way that you would like to be perceived. Where it's like, you could use those methods, right? Where it's like, okay,
this is
like
me unabashedly.
yeah. I mean, this is like you could be like, okay, like, am I going for something? Because I think when you transcribe solos, which is again like listening to the solos and playing them by ear, and some people write them down, some people don't. You're trying to emulate that, right? So that's almost like the method that you were telling me about, like getting into the brain of Jon Coltrane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think musicians use this term of channeling, right? Because you try to channel the essence of Jon Coltrane or whatever, right? But I think that we essentially do that to gain the elements that we love and that were super, super impactful of music, right? So it's like, if you do that about other people and yourself, dude, you'll become like this endless plethora of knowledge for yourself, and then upon working and publishing, you'll become this endless plethora of knowledge for other people. Just how legends have, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, just listen to what you do, or just like analyze what you do. Even if you can't, like, I say record because you can't remember everything you played, dude. Like, unless you have like because at that point it wouldn't even be a photographic or photogenic memory, or not photogenic, but photographic memory, because you know you would have to see something.
You'd
have to
straight impulses.
Yeah. So it would be more of like, just listen to what you do, no matter what you do, or analyze what you do, like record, make a record of anything, and then whatever you think you should approve upon it in that way. And then I'm not saying don't listen to other inputs, right? I'm saying, like, for your ultimate development, for your individuality, listen to yourself. And then if you want to learn how to do a certain thing better, go to somebody who could give you good knowledge on that. Go listen to somebody who's better than you at that, right? It's like all very specific and precise knowledge that like really takes that change. Because, you know, at the higher levels of things, changing is just one microscopic detail that could propel you to a new, you know, plane. Where it's like, I didn't know that doing this one thing differently could essentially change how I looked at things. But then again, it's just like, do what you want to do, because that's like a thing that I do, and I will continue to do that no matter what. But it's like, whoever wants to do it. But that's like my advice to the world, is just like, analyze what you do critically, right? And like, you're gonna feel those feelings of rejection, but like, lean into that shit. Lean into the fact that like, not only is your rejection you not being where you want to be, but a great friend of mine, John Cushing, trombone player, when I was at a session, I didn't like how I sounded, and he was like, just realize that you not being happy with how you sounded is nothing less than the advocation that you have these expectations for yourself that you're not meeting yet. And that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing, where you're like, I have these phenomenal expectations for myself and I'm not meeting them, and that's accountability right there. That's you holding yourself accountable right there. And it's indirect accountability, right? Because you feel like shit right? But you're also forced to get better because of how shitty you feel, right? So it's like that's my tangent on self-improvement.
No,
but
there's a
Parker
there's
now
a quote.
offers
There's a
life
quote.
coaching.
There's a quote that I read a couple of days ago, and it was, let's see, who actually was it?
I was like, are these
Here's a
earplugs?
quote.
No,
It
that's
was,
Chuck. I'm sorry.
we must all suffer from one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And
I think the pain of discipline is much more at the forefront of your existence because you're feeling it in the moment as you're propelling your life forward. But I think the pain of regret? That's even worse though, because woulda, coulda, shoulda is the worst decision. Like
Can't
it's
do
the
anything
worst.
about it.
It's
Yeah.
the worst corner to put yourself in, because what do people do when they're in the corner? They attack, right?
Yeah.
And that could be said for animals, but also humans, man. Like if you corner yourself in your brain, you're gonna start attacking yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, it's because I didn't do this or I should have did that, dude. I've had so many scenarios in my life where it's like, I fucked up so bad. I wish I would have done this. But then it's like, but you didn't do that. And that's harsh. That sucks. But like, I think if you tell yourself those things, it will hurt less. And you'll be more prepared for it when other people tell you about it. Because if you're cool with your internal world, if people from your external world try to comment on your internal world and you know they're making a mistake on the judgment they're making, it doesn't really matter to you because you have enough knowledge on yourself for you to be like, I see what you're saying and I see what you're criticizing, but even if it's constructive, right? You take what you found useful from it, but don't dwell on that shit though, because they're telling you that because they know you can do better. Where it's like, if someone was like terrible at something and like you just kind of felt like you had to say like, wow man, that was good, and you felt like you weren't even in the position to give them advice to get better because you feel like it's that bad that anyone is not that secure in themselves, you won't give them that advice. But if you feel like someone is committed to the forward progress of themselves, you'll be more inclined to give them advice on it because you know that they're working at it. So it's like, but once again, you know, going back to the session that I had, and I was talking to my friend, a great friend of mine, drummer Chris Perez, man, he was giving me advice, and he was like, listen, dude, like, he was giving me all this great advice, and then he was like, it's because you're committed to this that I'm giving you this advice. Because when he said it, I was like, fuck, dude, like, fuck. But then I was like, how can I use this to propel my musicianship forward, you know? But yeah, fucking self-improvement, dude. Like, that's like my second tangent. But like, that's like, you know, I really enjoy talking to people about this because it's like, you know, when do you get the opportunity to have these sort of conversations in a world that's like so obsessed with the opposite of this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Someone told me recently that it could be exhausting to be around me because I was always like looking to improve myself and looking to do better and looking to do better and looking to do better, and I was like, I don't know, maybe, but in my experience it's way more exhausting being stagnant.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
because then you're just wallowing in whatever happens to be there.
I think that the people that get exhausted around people that are constantly trying to better themselves are not necessarily ready to confront the opportunity that they could be doing better than they are doing at that moment. And like,
getting better and better.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should ever feel. I don't think you should ever feel bad for, you know. And I'm not saying you are.
I don't.
Like,
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it for sure. Don't. But like, there was like this thing, man, where it's like, don't be afraid for like shining your light, dude. Because like shining your light is a huge thing. Where like, if people feel bad for the light that you shine, that's just because they're not shining at that same level. And it's like, not that you're looking down on them, but you want to help them shine that light.
Well, sure, and I'm no one to say anything about that either. Listen, I you know, you can work to improve yourself and realize, and then like fall all over yourself into a giant pit and have to start climbing your way out. Like,
yeah,
you know,
dude,
you can, you know, there's, you know, made plenty of terrible decisions and plenty of great decisions, and I've, you know, tried to improve myself and accidentally hurt people along the way, and like but you gotta there's a humility, I think, that comes with the people with actual self-improvement isn't ego feeding.
Yeah, dude. So, you know, I really appreciate everything you're saying, because I really identify with the like self-progress thing, where it's like, you know, you fuck up on the way, but like you make these strides. And I saw this fucking thing on a t-shirt, right? And like, if it wasn't on a t-shirt, I would have been much more appreciative of it, even though I am super appreciative of it. It's like, bad decisions, great stories, where it's like,
is that the shit with the skulls, bro?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I
saw the message and I was like, you know what, dude? Like, not from the
it's
point.
Like the skull.
Not from the point where like you're bragging about the bad decisions where you made, where it's like great insight. That's how I, approached it. That's how I perceived it. That's how I, took from it, where it was like, or observed from it. Because I don't like to take from things, dude. I like to appreciate them. But like, it's just like, I've made so many bad decisions. Like I spoke earlier a little bit, like I touched a little bit on it, but like I used to be a drug dealer. Like I've made plenty of terrible decisions being a drug dealer that I've had to reconcile with myself, that I made those decisions and take accountability, and essentially, not to get super religious, but like to talk to God about whatever denomination you may or may not believe in. I just had to take it to that next level, because I knew just talking to myself about it wasn't enough. I do read the Bible here and there. I am a little bit religious, but I'd like to think that, people think about these religious confines, but I think like if you're just living your best life and being your best self, I think that's what God or what your denomination would embrace you as.
Man, you really do need to read that Victor Wooten book I was talking about.
I will. Yeah,
it's almost like a book on spirituality, but it's like the channel of the spirituality is his bass playing.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. See, I think that's even more beautiful, because like musical and spirituality are so close.
Oh yeah.
They're almost like intertwined, dude. And like, I was just like, I'm super appreciative of like this experience, man, because like, this is super dope. What is it, a Monday?
This is a Monday.
It's a Monday, dude.
Mondays
like,
with Mav.
It is.
Dude,
Mondays with Mav.
It's a Mav day.
It's a Mav day. It's a Mav day.
It's like, I'm
but
off
it's such
work
a creative
tomorrow,
energy,
like,
bro. It's really, it's
dude,
a whole vibe of
like,
creative energy that gets.
I'm
like,
gonna
sick,
listen to this
man.
podcast like fucking 10 times, dude.
Bro, it's mad fucking fun, bro.
Like,
dude, you have no idea, bro. I'm like weird, because like, it's strange for me. Like, so I mainly take photography, and my phone is fucked up. This is really hold on, it's all good. The energy. So check this shit out. This might fuck shit up. So the audio recording's still going, the music stopped. So my phone is fucked up. Mm-hmm. I normally take like just photography photos of people, and I can't, the fucking like the lens like on this shit, it's not like, if I can't actually make the photo, I fucking like if I don't have like my camera on me, that means I really can't even take the photo. It's like the lens is like swiveling, right? So then you have like this energy, right? So I'm kind of getting like, I have no real processing, right? But the energy of the entire, like, I need to go make a photo, or I have to do that, it like needed to catch somewhere. And
dude.
I've been thinking about afternoon for like fucking like, I don't even know, like a long time, like April or fucking whatever.
It's phenomenal, dude. It's like,
dude. You know what's weird is like I still don't even know what the fuck I'm doing.
But
I want it to be on the take.
Isn't that so beautiful? Isn't that so beautiful though? Where it's like you're just like you're going face first into something that's like, I have no fucking clue what this is, but it's so beautiful because you don't fucking know what you don't know, man. So it's like,
it's yeah, man.
It gets you places too.
Yeah,
and
it's yeah. But I got to learn, like, I'm going into my 4th session today, and fucking yeah. But dude, yeah, you just
so this is the 4th episode, or
no? You're the 3rd, and now we're gonna do Mondays with Matt. But I think we're opening up. with the fucking with just like a talk.
Oh shit, that would be like a.
It's still, bro.
Panel,
It's every
quote,
Monday.
unquote, right?
Every Monday here at Prototype Patterson, bro. We have
Dude,
Mondays
I'd love
with
to
Nav.
I'd love
Last
to work with you
Tuesday
guys
of
more,
every
man.
month. We got
I would really love to work with you guys.
Oh,
like,
dude, fucking come by, man. This is what this is for.
Have you been up to the 5th floor?
I was like an hour ago.
You never,
like, so
you've never been a Prototype before.
This is my first time. Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah, dude,
Holy
it's fucking,
shit,
like,
bro!
What a great first
I have
experience.
no,
dude.
I have no, fucking. My context was like, I thought you like, yeah, all right, word.
See,
bro.
'cause
Your first time here, and
Yeah,
now
man,
you're
bring
about
people
to
here.
jam.
Bring people here, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
How'd you
jump on the
find-
opportunity.
So it's all,
of
who got you here? Let's
So
give
it
him a
was
shout out.
Rashad and I did like something like a long time ago, like last summer, like 2 summers ago, right?
Word.
And we haven't really spoken much at all, right? We're just like on Instagram with each other, right?
Yeah.
And I started seeing like his space, like Prototype, seeing events around, and like then like we got into contact, and it was like, oh shit, like this is here, like this is super cool, man.
Dude.
And it's almost like, you know, like insane, man, like because now I'm doing shit like in Patterson, which was like before I didn't know that there was like this thing in Patterson, and now I'm doing shit in Jersey City where it's like, what's like this mega project that I could have that has both of those scenes, and it's literally just like what you guys said is like doing a show at Prototype, because like that's all my Jersey City and Patterson together, dude.
Yeah.
Because like the bass player, my best friend, one of my best friends is from Patterson. One of my other best friends, the drummer, is from fucking Jersey City, grew up, born and raised. And the guitar player is like from, like I said, West Bubblefuck. Sorry, Gus, but just like I don't know where it is. I think Plainfield or something like. It's just like this fucking immersive experience of like all these different artists that just like really encourages and inspires me, man. Because I was talking to Jon, I'm sorry if I...
No, you got it. You got it.
But I was talking to him about being like in this fucking rut, dude. And it was like, because I went on like what I thought, like what was a date, in my opinion. Like what we agreed upon was a date, right? And like it ended up fizzling out, which is cool, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's cool, right? It wasn't about the experience with said woman, right? It was just about the opportunity of love to approach my life and then leaving my life, which was like had me like pretty heavy for like a few days, right?
Yeah.
And then I started playing some music, and I started really like working on music, because playing music is different, but like working on it is like you're producing something into the world. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm back, baby. Like I'm back, like, and now I'm doing this podcast like right now, and like I'm gonna go jam, and it's like I'm back because like I need to keep myself around my craft in order to remain happy. And some may say like, isn't that like kind of like a hostage situation? I don't fucking think it is, because like you could produce that opportunity for yourself, and then it's not a hostage situation.
Sure.
Where it's like, oh, okay, like I would love to play with other people, and I know that other people would love to play with me, because people love to play with people, dude. So it's like, let's do it. Let's just do it. Like, let's do it. Let's embrace it. Like, let's just fucking do it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we like going crazy on time right now?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay,
but it's
yeah.
all
So,
good.
like, cause I was.
I was
looking at
waiting,
your
bro.
phone,
I'm not
right?
gonna cut you up. It's not like real.
It seems like this is a
You're
cool
like
place.
20 minutes over, but it's all good.
Oh
bro.
shit, dude.
No, it's totally fine.
Is it gonna
bro.
get cut or is it gonna get
No, you're
published?
chilling. You're chilling. This is all one take, bro.
Okay, cool.
It's
So
a little bit like.
this is a great time to like probably end it now, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I
No. It's, you got a lot to say, bro.
I
which
did,
is
yeah.
fucking
It's true,
fine.
it's
I love it.
true.
I love
yeah,
it.
just catch me.
As long as you keep going, bro. I
catch
don't
me on
mind.
Instagram,
It's normally,
like,
yeah. We got.
catch me. I'm sorry. Like, catch me on Instagram, pgod.1. Like, I hate the name, but it's my name on Instagram,
He's
right?
the first god of
You know, someone I was talking to recently who was really wise said if there's something you don't like in your life, you can change it.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah, you're.
Key God 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, that was great, dude.
Afternoon FM.
Yeah, dude. Afternoon.
Jon
and evening.
Cohen,
Thank you for
Master
having me.
Zeitoun,
Thank you
Project.
for having me, man.